I shared 5 unspoken rules of high finance, and I got asked a lot of questions why MBA associates are viewed as less competent, at least initially, compared to their analyst to associate direct promotes. I'll talk about that one last. I'll talk through the other 4 first, but talk through basically all the questions that people had. So the first one was that you have to be clean shaven. You can't have scruff. You can't have like a mustache like this. I've been told plenty of times in my career that I need to shave, that I shouldn't have facial hair in any capacity. And I think the reason, at least that I've heard for that, is you basically aren't allowed to have facial hair until you close your first deal, until you generate fees, generate revenues for the bank. Again, I'm not saying these are not toxic, but that's just what I've heard. The second one is that you should basically only wear like a navy or a gray suit. I get the term thrown around a lot in the office of like charcoal is for funerals, or like beige is like for like a yacht or something, or like for like a summer polo club. I don't know. Again, I don't make these rules up, but navy blue, dark navy blue, and gray are the 2 that I know are approved. The third one is that you shouldn't be wearing like a Rolex or an AP or Patek Philippe on your wrist. And this is like one that I think is partially because of egos. Like senior people, like those are really expensive watches and hard to get, and they want to be the only ones that have it. And to some extent, I think that that's ridiculous. But then to the same extent, I think like, what are you trying to prove that you need to wear a car on your wrist every day in the office? Like, any sort of fashion stylistic thing you'll notice very quickly with banking and high finance, it's like you want to blend in, you don't want to stand out. It's not the place to be making fashion statements. That's frowned on, pretty heavily. Again, toxic or not, it's just the way it is. And the fourth one is kind of like the sequence with which people leave the office: managing directors, then VPs, associates, and analysts. And I think that one's honestly kind of like a hazing ritual. I think it's a function of like, I had to go through this pain, so you do too. And that's part of the reason that FaceTime culture is so important in high finance. Again, toxic, but just the way that it is. And the last one, which I think a lot of people talked about, had questions about, is why MBA associates are viewed as less competent, at least initially, than their analyst to associate direct promote peers. And I think the reason is kind of twofold. One is that a lot of people that come into banking from an MBA associate path were probably trying to get into investment banking originally and didn't. And so that kind of implies that maybe they weren't as good, maybe they're not as qualified as the analysts who were directly promoted, because a lot of analysts who are really good will just leave to go to the buy side, right? So you're kind of left as like filling the gap of all the analysts that the bank couldn't retain. So you're kind of sometimes, I'm not saying again this is right or not toxic or anything like that, but viewed as like a second tier kind of applicant to fill positions of people who are leaving. And I think the second one, which is like slightly more justified, is that investment banking has a very unique work culture, a very unique expectation set, a very unique like kind of like product and service that you're providing and making. And it's very dissimilar from a lot of other industries. So it takes a long time to get up to speed. So even though you may have more total years of work experience than an analyst who's 2 or 3 years into their professional career, they have way more work experience doing what you'll actually be doing day to day in investment banking.